Hey guys, Ramblin Bob here again. Okay, so this is a continuation. This is part 2 of the update that I just did. And you're watching it charge in real time now from 100% discharge of the entire system. And as you can see, I gotta get this to stop wiggling here. Notice that it is charging literally perfect. It's from the top to the bottom, it's 25, 22, 22, 21, 21. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in certain intervals here rather than charge the whole system, because that's a lot of power. So we have about 900 watts ish coming in from solar, and obviously that's going to take a very long time, see 16.5 hours. So when that's done, I'm going to hook it to the AC once the solar's all done for the day, and that way we can max it out, and then we're going to do a full charging cycle where you can see the numbers here. Now it's 25, 22, 22, 22, and 21. So it's going pretty good. Now remember, I changed that battery. This one is now set up to battery number 2, and that one's battery 3. So I swapped them. Okay, I swapped them. So that way, and I also changed the numbers. So this is not battery 3 anymore. This is battery 2. So I swapped it basically. So this is, boy, it's hard to explain. Host 0, 1, 2, and 3, but I swapped the batteries. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Okay, so it's hard to explain this stuff, guys. So, all right, so far it's charging very well. Hopefully the solar will kind of get, going a little bit here. I'd like to see that at about 2,000, and then we knock this down and get it done today. But this is going to take a while. I should charge it from the wall as well. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, hold on a second here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to charge it from the wall as well, so we have solar, just so we can hurry up and get it going here. Like I said, because that's a lot of power. At 15,000 watt hours, man, that's a lot of power. So I'll put half on the electric bill and half on the solar bill, and hopefully the solar will, take more of it. Now the neat thing with this system is when the when the solar does better than the grid, it drops the grid down and uses it's solar proprietary, so that's nice that it picks that up. Let me pull this in here. Okay, I really hope these videos are helping people learn about the system. I'm certainly learning a lot. Okay, so we kicked on the inverter. I think I only have it set to about 10%. There's a UPS. Obviously in the last video I forgot to turn on the AC inverter when it obviously turned off, because the whole system completely got rid of all the batteries, all the power. So we're going to turn that, let's turn that up to, let's do, what do you guys think, 50%? I don't want to do too fast. Okay, there you go. So now it'll be 8 hours. And oh, actually, you know what, hold on. You know what? Let's push it. We're going to test it, Bob. We're going to test it. All right, here we go. 100%. Okay. Now remember, every battery was completely drained. Every single one. The main unit and all 4 batteries are drained. So now we have 1,600 watts coming from the AC, the grid, and we have 1,127 coming from the solar. So if this picks up, remember, this number goes down. So it maxes out right at about 3,600 watts. And see, now notice that's going up and down, because when this goes up, that'll start dropping. Hopefully this will, let me go for like 1 more minute, just so we can see. If this goes up, you'll watch that the other one will go down. Basically, long story short, it proprietary, I don't know how to say that. Guys, that's a weird word for me. Okay, proprietizes the energy coming in from the sun rather than the wall, which is good, because if you have it hooked up using the UPS, it'll focus more on what's coming from the sun as opposed to draining your pocketbook in your bank account. So that's the whole concept of this system. So now see, notice that went up to 1,400 watts, and this dropped down to 1,500. So that's 29. That's just under 3,000 watts. And hopefully, if this, let's see if we can get this to go up just a little bit more. If this could, if I can get the sun, oh, it's dropping. If we can get the sun to come out just for a minute here, I'll even sing that little Orphan Annie song if I need to. But now it says it about 4 hours. That's not going to be a real 4 hours, because remember, when the sun goes down, it's already almost 1 o'clock, so that's not going to stay out too much longer. But when that comes down, this will probably go to 6 or 7 again, because I'm just going to be doing from the wall, and that's pretty much the max of the wall is 16. I know it says 1,800 watts, but I think it might be my building. See, it's 114.6 volts coming from the wall, so it's not the best electricity in the world, but it is up to code, strangely enough. So when we bought the building, it was all inspected, so they said it was fine. But I wish I could have all that new fancy, like some buildings we've been to, guys, they have like 124 volts coming out of the wall. That is, wow. You know, that like you have to be right next to the transistor for that, or that whatever that's called, that big circle thing on the pole. It just seems like you're right next to it. But all right, I'm gonna let it go, and I'm gonna jump it from time to time, guys. 27, 23, 23, 23, and 22. So on the charge up, it's doing fantastic. So we'll see it in a full cycle. And then on the next part of the video, I'm going to put probably 2 days into one here. I'm going to squish this one fully charging, and then we're going to see discharge to probably like 50% again. And then you can see if that battery, you know, acts weird. Remember, this second one, I believe now, is the one that supposedly was off. So if this one goes off, then you know it's not battery specific, and it's system specific, if that makes sense, of whatever's on this last leg. All right, I'll be back, okay, guys? Okay, guys, just jumping in with an update here. It is now 1 o'clock, and we are at 34, 27, 27, 27, and 26. So it looks good so far. All right, I'll give you another update in a little while. Okay, guys, jumping in with another update. It's just about 2 o'clock. It's 1:58, so I figured 2 o'clock, and notice that the batteries are balancing pretty good on the way up like normal. So we're 57 on the first host. That one always goes up because that's where all the energy is coming in. Of course, it's coming in through here. And the solar probably started, it's almost perfect right now of what I can get in on the system. It's very close. The reason that it didn't start right away on the other one is there was snow/ice on the panels. And that's why you had such high voltage and no energy coming in. So once that heated up from the sun and the ice and snow kind of melted, then as you can see, the power started coming in. So we're 1800 from the solar and 1400 from the wall. Our draw is 300 for the workshop, and we have 57, 41, 41, 42, and 40. Now remember, this one, the number 42, that's the battery that normally is off. I remember I moved it one spot, so from the other video. So battery number 2, which is battery 4 in the lineup here, that one right there, that's the battery that was in question. So if this one starts doing that, then you'll see that it's a problem with this port or part of the battery expansion legs or whatever. So I'll just give you another update. Okay, I'm going to wait till about 3 o'clock, and then we'll see. It's chugging along here. It's at 40%, 44% overall, 53.7 is the voltage. And as you can see, the temperature, it's like nothing. Guys, we're putting 3,000 watts in here, and we're putting 87, about 88 Fahrenheit on the heat for the main system, 82, 78, 82, and 80. So very, very good temperatures for that kind of power coming in. That's immense, guys. That's 3,000 watts coming in, and we're probably about 20 degrees over ambient temperature of this room, which is like 68, 70. Yeah, so pretty good. All right, I'll let you see the update at about 3 o'clock. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, guys, doing another update. It is now 3:30 almost, and we're at, let's see, 74, 64, 63, 65, and 62. So the batteries are pretty much good in the charging. I never really had a problem with the charging cycle. It's the discharging cycle, so we'll do that after we're done. But obviously the solar is really getting bad now. I got 300 and some watts coming in, so I pulled the wall down just because it's like it's so much energy from the bill. You know what I mean? I'm trying to save some bucks when you can, but I'm going to try to pull energy from other power stations and fill it with those too, and that way I can have this full. I always, I don't know, I feel guilty nowadays using the grid. Do you guys do that too? When you plug something in the outlet, it's like, you almost feel like you're doing something naughty, if you know what I mean, because you're supposed to be getting the power from the sun. That's the whole reason that we buy these things. All right, I'll do another update, guys, just to keep you up to date on the charging as far as the percentages. And once again, 74, 64, 63, 65, and 62. So pretty good. Remember, this second battery here, the fourth one down, that is the quote-unquote questionable battery, if it makes sense. But notice it's the highest amongst all of them. So we're going to keep watching it. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, guys, another update. It's 4:22. I had to turn the power up, even though I still feel guilty about using it from the wall. Like I said, I like to use the solar at 3. That's why I bought this machine. We are at 75, 64, 65, 65, it looks like, and 63. So very good combination, other than, you know, the first one. But remember, that's where the energy is coming in. So if that one's off, at least it makes sense, because everything has to flow through the main one in order to get to the, you know, in and out. So just another update. The solar is literally done. So now I'm at the mercy of charging from the wall or another power station. So I will be back. Okay, guys, another update here. We are at, let's see here, 78%, 67, 67, 67, and 66. So the charging, like I said, has always been very good with the batteries. Just an update, and then hopefully soon, 15,000 watt hours. It takes a long time to charge this, guys. And I ran out of power on one of the power stations because I'm dumping from, actually charging from this guy here into this guy. And then I was doing this one, and I forgot that one ran out of power. So, okay, I'm still charging here. Everything's going good on this one so far. I'll be back. Okay, guys, after a very long time, the full system is completely charging to a finish here. We have 100%, 100%, 100%, 99, and 99. That's 98. The last one's 98. So now what I'm going to do on this test is to verify that as this is finishing here, solar has not been friendly, so I had to wait, is I put... Now this battery was the one that always seemed to have more energy because it used to be down there. So what I did is I swapped these batteries, and I also swapped the numbers. This is now set to battery 2 on the E3600LFP, and I put battery in question that way I can keep track of them for these videos, because I just want a record of this. So here's my theory. If this battery now on the next discharge stays higher than the other ones, it has to do with the E3600LFP. This is just I'm narrowing down the culprits, if you will. If this battery, hold on, I just confused myself. Okay, so if this battery stays higher than, yeah, okay, that's what I just said. So if this battery stays higher than the other ones, then we know it's something to do with the system, with the communications. If this battery maintains a higher percentage on the system, then we know it has something to do with the battery and not the system. It's very confusing, guys, because I've run so many tests that holy crap. So okay, so here they're all at 100, so now they're just going to top off. Long test, guys, because like I said, this is 15,000 watt hours, and I've burned out 15,000, and I've charged 15,000. Now I have to do another 15,000. So altogether, I'll probably go through about 40. Holy crap, so 40 to 50,000 watt hours for this test. That's time consuming, guys. So hopefully, if like this video and like all the videos, if this information is helping people, because I'm putting it in a lot of time. Like I've always said, that PECRON does not pay me for these videos. I want them all on the record in case someone has a similar issue or question that we can figure out, is it a problem or is it not? That's the whole reason I'm doing this test, to make sure that we can all stay on the same page as far as, well, okay, it's supposed to do that. That's normal. Okay, no worries. The weird thing is when I use only 3 batteries on the system, if I use that one, that one, that one, and that one, or any combination, it doesn't seem to get that far off. It's only when I hook the 4th battery to the system that one goes kind of, well, you've seen it in many videos, guys. It kind of gets off. So as I said in the last video that I just did, or in the beginning, I can't keep track of these anymore. In the last video or in the beginning of this one, no, it was the last video, sorry. We ran the system all the way down to 0, and you saw that last battery in the end of the last video, it dropped from about 11% to 1% in a few minutes, which means that the battery was the same as all the rest of them, except that the battery meter was off. No meter should drop 10% in a few minutes. That's incorrect reading, obviously, because the battery will cut off when it cuts off. It has its own little BMS thing, and it knows when to shut down its own battery thing. This system will know when to shut down because it won't be able to drag any energy from any other batteries. So that's the key. But like I said, I'm not a professional at this, guys. I'm just making these videos to try to help the community here. and to make a record of these, just so I can have some kind of documentation saying, okay, well, this is what I tried. Did you try anything different? Do you have any different ideas? I think I've tried just about every one in the book. Once again, with this, guys, when you see this go down to 0 and you still see these little lightning bolts, you see the little lightning bolts in there? Right there? Leave it be. These systems have automatic shutoffs and BMSs and MPPT controllers, so that way you know that it's going to do what it has to do, and then you'll see these little lightning bolts, they'll go off, and that means that the battery is fully charged, and then any energy that you still have coming in through solar, or like in this case I have UPS going and solar, just to try to hurry up and finish this. It will, it'll never go down to 0, obviously, because you're drawing energy. Now, if you had this with no draw on it, it would eventually have to come to an end, because the system, the UPS wouldn't be on, and the system couldn't put any more energy in the batteries, because, like in your car, once the trunk is full, you can't put any more in the trunk, right? So now we're just waiting here for the last couple of minutes. I don't know how long this is going to take now, so we're just waiting, but it's 56.5, I believe, and don't quote me on this, 56.7 or 56.8 I think is the full, but man, I so many numbers in my head right now, it's hard. I have to go back and look at my notes. All the battery cells say excellent. Is that 354? I think 360, I think, is all the way up. I'm not, boy, I wish I could remember these numbers. So they're all about the same. I noticed that yep, 350. Okay, yeah, so there's nothing really off. They're all right around 350s and 355. So they're very close, and that's what's, it's doing. It's balancing that last little bit. I have it on 100% charging. The system obviously slows down a little bit because we're at the end. It's kind of topping off the batteries here. For the record, we have 82.4 degrees on the system, so great temperature, unbelievably for charging of, I mean, look at this. So, okay, so solar dropped down, and that might be outside or whatever it's doing to finalize the thing. Yeah, see, it's dropping down. Maybe it's topping off with the last percents from the UPS or whatever, I don't know. And then that, oh, I see what happened. Okay, so you see how that one kicked up really high? That was the compressor on the other side of the room. I didn't notice it because it's not really that loud. It's for either the fridge or the freezer. So when that kicks up really high, which that can go up very high, guys. Compressor that kicks in goes up very high. So you'll see that spike. And then so now what I'll do is I'll pull out the UPS, because let me go down to 10% here, because I don't use UPS, guys. I never do. I know a lot of people out there do. I don't need it. I don't want it. I wish you could turn the UPS off on the system and just have it set to like 10%, to where now the solar kicked back up. That way you can have a backup protection, where if this battery box, the whole system gets down to like 10%, then the wall kicks on to keep it so it never ever goes below 10%. I think that would be a cool feature to have on a system. I don't know if other systems have it. I only have the systems that I have, so that's all the information that I have on that stuff. I have about 30, well, I think it's like 31 power stations now. I got 32. Boy, I lose track. But I researched a pretty good chunk of them, but not as many big ones. I have like the Mega 2 over there. I have a couple of the Oukitels, which I like those and dislike them at the same time. Great machines, but not good battery capacity. Otherwise, it's a good machine. The AFERY, and then, of course, the E2000LFP, and then the E1500 now is in the other part of the other side there. So that is the full stack of E2000LFP, and I'm using that as a backup. That way, if it gets to like this point, see where that 100% is full, then any extra energy that I get in, I can transfer over to that one, and then store 8 kilowatts over there. And that way, if you ever use more than 15, which we normally never do, but you really never know. You don't know what comes up. I'll give you a prime example. So last night, I don't know when, probably we were watching a program on the TV there, and on the History Channel. That's my favorite channel, or one of. And anyway, we were watching a program, The Adventures of Oak Island. That's interesting if you guys want to check it out. It's crazy. anyway, the electricity in the whole neighborhood went out for a short time, and we didn't know because we were watching, you know, the program on the TV, and the lights are still on, and we didn't even know. And then we got a call, and they're like, "Hey, is your electricity out?" And I'm like, "No." Well, ours personally is not out. Let me check the grid for the building, and sure enough, the grid was out. It was only out for about 15 minutes, but if you have a family, that could be terrifying, right? Because many things could happen in that short time. You know, you got kids that got to get up for school. What if the alarm clock's reset and now they can't get up in time for school? You got to go to work. Your coffee pot reset. I mean, all these little bits and pieces. That 15 minutes could have been 15 hours. It could have been 15 days. They're usually pretty good at fixing it. I think the longest we've had, I think, 3 in the last year. And our neighborhood in the Midwest is usually very, very good with electric. And it just kind of shows you how the grid in the United States is kind of wearing down. You know what I mean? It's getting old. I wish we'd go to 240, to be honest. A lot of countries have 240, and that way you keep the amps down. But that's neither my choice or just my opinion. But I wish we'd go to 240 and then have everything upgraded to 240. But obviously that's infrastructure of a whole country. That cost, holy crap, Zilla, that would be a lot of money. I couldn't imagine resetting everything to 240. The weird thing is the grid comes in at 240, I believe, from the transistors, and then it splits down to a house, which is like 110 or 120 on 2 legs usually, which is when you go outside and you see that electric wire coming in your house. If you look close at it, it's actually 2 of them, and then there's a wire cable that runs in between that, and that's for protection, to protect those wires from having too much pressure on them. The cable takes the weight, and the electric wires go like this around it, like a braid. So next time you look at electric wire, look at it close, and you'll see that that's actually 2 there. It's not 1, it's 2. It comes in 2 legs, or 2 sides, and that way, like the last one that we had out, that was probably 4 or 5 hours. It gets scary once it gets a couple hours. Okay, we got 1 done. Once it gets a few hours down, then you get a little, start to get nervous. Like I said, especially if you got a family, you're kind of worried about, okay, is the refrigerator, is the food going to be good? Is the freezer food going to be good? All these little things start going through your head. If you have a Tesla, is your car going to charge so you can get to work? All these little things start popping in your head because, it popped back on. So it's topping off again. As a responsible parent, that you want to make sure your family's safe. I think that's the core fear of everybody out there. You just want to make sure that you and your family is safe. That's a fight or flight kind of thing. But it was it popped out, but only half of the building was out, which is really weird because that's how I learned that the electricity comes in 2 legs as opposed to 1, and I think that's a backup plan. That way the whole system doesn't kind of drop, just half of it. That's very smart when you think about that. But half of the building, the lights would work, and the electricity and the outlets and everything would work, and the other half would not. And the other half, like the voltage was really, really low on the outlets, and the other half was just fine. The voltage was like 120, 121 to 119. It fluctuates from time to time, but it was totally fine. And I checked it with, let me show you guys something real quick here. I checked it with this guy. This will literally save your life one day. It is not a joke. As far as learning about electricity, I'm going to unplug this one real quick, just so I can show you this piece while we're waiting for this to finalize here. That's the last bit. It's getting down there, so it's almost done. When you plug this in here, this little thing is how you can check your grid. It gets very bright, so I apologize. I got to get really close for you to be able to see that. Okay, so this little device here can detect the voltage, the kilowatt hours. There's the voltage, see 119.9, and that's at 60 hertz. So this can detect everything. How many amps are coming out? Only this outlet, not the machine. But if you have everything coming out this thing, then you can obviously record. And this has memory in it. See that was the lowest, 0.1, so that could have been an LED light, or this thing. It could have been this thing turning on. And then the highest was 124.9. So whatever I ran on there before topped out at 129. That's why it says high. And then you have your overload, so you can set your overload to whatever you want. That's really high, guys. That's really high, but I don't come anywhere near that. But I should drop that down to at least like, 16 to 1800, somewhere in there, just in case. But that could be surge though, because you sometimes you need that for that, like that quick amount of surge. So that I haven't used much. And then that's active watts right now. And you can also put the cost in per kilowatt hour, so you can keep track of actually how much energy and the cost it took at that time. And then to reset it, it is super duper easy to do. This is I think it's like $12.99. It's nothing on Amazon. I'll leave a link in there. This is a must-have. If you don't have one, we have 5 of these, just to give you an idea how important these are to us. Like I said, if you're testing stuff, this is a lifesaver, because if you go get a very expensive Fluke or something like that, you give 100, 2, 3, 4, $500 for that. This is $12.99, and it gives you an idea. Now, this is not 100% perfect, but it certainly gets the job done. Let me show you how to reset it real quick. Okay, so it comes with this little stick. Now, if you lose this stick, you could use a pencil, you can use a pen, you can use just a pin, something that could, kind of poke in there. Be careful with the pin, because it's a piece of rubber in there, and the pin will go through the rubber. So use like the head side of the pin or something like that. But all you do is you go like this, and you poke this little thing, and now it 100% resets. So every function in there, see that? It's 100% reset. See that? Everything's back. So, and then what I like the best is this. That voltage right there, it tells you the whole game. If your voltage is too low when you're running something, then you know that your item that you're running is struggling. So if I were to run like a heater on here real quick, you'll see that puppy will drop down. Let me show you what, we still got to wait for that anyway. So I'm just trying to eat up some time here while this is, I want this to go in real time, Okay, so what I have behind me is I have a 1500 watt heater, and that can draw a lot of power. So what we're going to do is we're going to see this is the starting voltage, so 120 on the machine itself. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check 2 things. We're going to check, see, so it took 2 watts at its highest point just to plug it in, and now it's running 2 watts. Now what is that 2 watts for? The LED light and probably the temperature probe to check what temperature is, or the memory of the heater. So little things like that. But if I click this on, I'll click this on low. I think I have it on low. Yeah, I have it on low. So that should be about 600 watts. Yeah, so there you go. So 600 watts. And this is how this item can really help you. Here, the third battery is, second and third battery are done in the background here. So what this will show you is how many watts you're actively using. And then the next one is the kilowatts. It keeps track of how much energy you used overall, which is great. And there's a memory built in there. Remember, there's a little battery in there, probably a little lithium-ion battery in there. See how that kind of goes up as we're using energy. And then the next one is the voltage. Now notice that the voltage did not go down. It's still 120, right? It's a little bit of fluctuation, but that's normal. So that way you can see if your item is struggling or not. If you're hooking something very expensive to something and you see the voltage drop, then you know it could damage that item that you have hooked up, whether it's high-end stereo stuff or computer stuff, or whatever you're using. If you're using like a system, a mainframe or something like that, or a server rack, or basically you can kind of, let me reset this here. You can kind of protect your equipment with that. So if you go to the next one, notice we're using 5.111 amps. That's really detailed. I don't think you need it that far down, but it's nice that it goes. You know that you're using 5.1 amps currently right now, and then the power factor is how much energy you're using. Sorry about the flickering, guys. It's something with either this thing or the distance from the camera or something. Now you know how much quality that the power is getting. So 100 watts of the 5 amps is going out into the machine that you're using, which in this case is a heater. So now you know right away. So if this starts dropping down, then you know also that the machine has to generate more power than what you're using. So the next one is the watts low, and that was the lowest to turn on the system, which is 0.8 watts, which is when I first plugged it in. Remember, it was 0.2, and then when I hit the button, it probably hit 0.8. So I don't know why I didn't log the 0.2 though. That's interesting. And then the next one is obviously the highest. Now remember, when I clicked it on, it was actually on high. You have to hurry up and click it to low. So you'll see this go up as I use medium and high on the heater, which we'll do in a second. And then you have the overload, which I don't use. So now notice that nothing really changes for the voltage power factor. So And heaters usually don't change power factor. They're pretty efficient, like light bulbs and stuff. So now what I'll do is I'll go to medium, and notice that that's spiked up to a lot more. And notice that the fans kicked on the power station. So you can, oh, here that fourth battery's done. So remember that I'm sorry, the fifth battery on the line is done. The fourth, oh, now it kicked back on. That fourth one is the one in question. Remember, that's when I set, that was battery 4 set to the third place, which is, remember there, I put it to there, and then I set the number to number 2. So that's 2 things I changed on the battery, just to make sure that, you know, the test comes out fair. Okay, and back to this now. So now you're using 915 watts. We're still waiting for that. Maybe that one's helping that one finish. I don't know. Okay, so let's see here. And then here's your kilowatt hours. And notice how that goes up pretty quick, right? Now it's 0.04 kilowatts about. So not much, but boy, this, you know, the money can disappear quick when you draw heavy. And then there's your voltage. Now notice the voltage did not drop at all, but it did drop a little tiny bit. Remember, we used to say 119.9 to 120. So this is how, like I said, you can keep track of how your energy is being used. 60 hertz is obviously the pure sine wave. And then now your amps have obviously went up much more. It's 7.6. And notice that your power factor has not changed. So, and then of course you have your low, and then now your high is going to be much higher because we put it to medium. So now you go over low, we don't need, and then back to this one, we're going to click it to high. So now the system is going to go on high, and then now you might see a variation in the readings. So 1526, all depends on what you hook from. If you hook from a good power source, the voltage won't drop that much. That's the key. It's called voltage sag, and you don't want to have that on a very expensive piece of equipment. So 1525, that's 1,524 watts. And then if you go to the kilowatt hours, notice that the kilowatt hours are going to move a lot faster now, guys, because see, that's your money disappearing. So it's just, okay, 3 batteries are done now. Notice that number 4 was, or number 4, this one. It says this one's done now, the one that we changed. So we're waiting for 2 more, oh, and see it kick back on. Okay, so maybe it's having trouble balancing. Who knows? Or it's just, you know, I don't know what it's doing. We just have to wait. That's why I'm making the video. Okay, so notice this number is going quick, so your money's disappearing fast. And then the next one is obviously the voltage. Now notice the voltage dropped down another little chunk, right? From 120 to 119.9 down to 119.8. Now that is very, very decent for voltage sag for pulling out this much power out of this power station. If this were to drop down to like 114 or 112, you could try it in your house. If you buy one of these for $12.99, I think they are now, and plug it in your house and hook something into it, and you can watch the actual power that you're using in the quality of power. So you still have 60 hertz, and that way you can keep records of it. This is really cool. Here's 12.74 amps. So now notice that the amps is much higher because we're drawing much more energy, but notice that the power factor is still the same. If we're running something with a compressor or a motor, you'll see that power factors drop because it's not as efficient as a heater or a light bulb. So that's what's cool about that. This is a lot of information for a little box like this that you can put in your house. There's your 0.8, that hasn't changed, and then now your high is 1,528 watts. So, went up one more. If we would have turned this on right away for your high, you know, like say, because remember it was warmed up already. Now we had it on 2 settings already. So if we were to start cold and put that on high, that might be a little higher because there's a thing called surge power, and that's to get something, you know, started like your car. It starts really high, you know, real hard, and then it kind of calms down. So, but it takes a lot of power to start your car, of course, a lot of amps, and then you're back to that. So this is a really, really cool little item here, guys. And then, oh, there's one more thing I forgot to show you on there. Up here, it keeps track of exactly the time, not that it's plugged in, but that you're actually drawing energy from it. So that's neat. So 7 minutes and 12 seconds we've been yapping. Okay, all of them pop back on, so they're definitely topping off for sure. And you'll see that from time to time. You know, a system will charge and then stop and charge. Do you know what a trickle charge is, guys? I'm pretty sure you do. So on a car battery, you'll have a trickle charge, which will keep your battery at a good setting. Kind of like when you use a trickle charger to keep a battery on a shelf for a long time, it's like that. And then you have a charger. So there's a charger and a trickle charger and a jumper. Those are 3 different things for car batteries. One will start a car instantly. So you got like a little Gulu or a Hulkman and you plug that in. That is a car jumper. It literally puts so many amps in there that it just starts your car and then you drive home. A charger will charge a battery till its fullest point and then have extra energy like an alternator for when you need it. A trickle charger is just that. It's for storage. But okay, so 2 more cut off here. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Look, 159 hours of energy here. Wow, that's yes, please. I'll definitely take that. All right, so 100. So I'll stop the video here because it's almost done. And what I'll do is I'll start because I'm running out of time here, guys. It's already 11 o'clock in the morning. Once solar is done for today, because I'm losing a lot of solar, I could put this solar on another system. So what I'll do is I'll put since they're full, I'm going to do the discharge cycle, and then at about 50% I'll see where they are. And remember, if that battery number 4 now, which is battery 2 on the numbers but battery 4 in the lineup here, if that one stays higher than the rest, then we know that something is funny with this battery. If this battery, that last one, the second leg, port 2, and that's the bottom of the second leg, there's leg 1 and leg 2, if this battery stays higher than the rest, then you know that that has to be a communication or system thing in the E3600LFP. So I'm going to start the discharge cycle now, guys, and because it might trickle for a long time, who knows. But I'll try to do what I can to bring more information of this to the public here, and hopefully we can get some answers. Other than that, guys, the system, I have no problems so far. So knock on wood, it's not wood, but it's plastic. Here's some wood. So far, other than the weirdness with the readout. Like I said, the voltage was fine. But go back and watch the other video again at the end, and you'll see that this went from that last battery, which was the one I switched now, it went from 11% down to 1% in a matter of minutes. And that just, it seemed wrong for me, which obviously that meter is off. Okay, hopefully there'll be another update, guys. That'll be the discharge cycle. This will be in 3 parts. Sorry for being so long. And I ramble unstoppingly. But like I said, I try to get as much information out that I can. All right, guys, ramble on. Be safe. And I'll see you guys here next time for the next update of the E3600LFP. Thanks, guys.